This is Creepy and Geeky. Welcome to Creepy and Geeky. I'm your host, Robert, and on today's episode, in celebration of Black History Month, I'm starting a new series of episodes on horror films by Black filmmakers with predominantly Black casts about Black experiences. Today's movie is Nope, and my guest is my wonderful friend, Donna. But first, it's time to talk to Donna about the stuff we got into this last week. How's it going, Donna?
Yeah, it's doing okay. I'm trying to survive. I
That's
know
what
that isn't very convincing, but
that's all we're all trying to do right now is just to survive. I don't think anybody's
just
trying to thrive right now. We're just trying to
just
survive.
trying to survive, man. How have you been? How are things?
It's good. Things are better this week. We all got through our sicknesses. I'm sounding a little stuffy right now, but that's just because I woke up not too long ago. So I'm always a little stuffy whenever I first wake up. But yeah, no, everybody's good here. We finally all got through our sicknesses, and um, yeah, it's otherwise everything's going
Good.
okay. And I actually got
Well,
to see a new movie this week, so that's
I
awesome.
I was gonna ask. I'm so excited, and I hope it's the one that I think it is. But yeah, everything's good. We're in the month of February.
Yeah,
Hopefully, by the
finally.
time
Jeez.
I know, wasn't January like 3 months long?
Ja- January was so great. I saw a funny picture yesterday online. Somebody was like January 1st and then January 31st. And then January 1st picture was Kate Winslet in Titanic. And then January 31st was the old lady from Titanic. And I
That's
was
an
like, you know
accurate.
what? That's how that felt. That's how this last month felt. It felt like the longest January
It
ever.
really did, but we got through it. Thank
We did. We did.
fuck.
Now we're in
Oh my god.
February. Whew, finally.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, no. So yeah, I did get to see a new movie, and I got a couple of new trailers to talk about. I know you got a couple of things to talk about. So we'll go ahead and just jump right in. I did get to go see Companion.
Woohoo, I
Uh,
was hoping that was it.
yes, which is the new movie by the producers of Barbarian. Um, they didn't direct it. See, I should have had this ready, and I never do.
Is it Zach
Um,
Kreger?
Zach Kreger's one of the producers,
Right.
so he read the script. So it's written and directed by Drew Hancock. It's a first time directing. So Drew Hancock wrote it, and um, the production company that Zach Kreger is a part of picked it up for him to direct originally. But then he saw how passionate Drew Hancock was about it and was like, you know what, this is how I was about Barbarian. I know this person wants to get it in. Let's help him produce this rather than me directing it. So,
Right.
and I'd say it was great. It was really fun. It's what you expect and more. So it's really good. I'm actually going to cover it now. I have a series of episodes coming up later in the year that I'm planning on doing on uh, AI horror stories, horror movies, and so I was just like, you know what, I'm going to add this to it because this was a lot of fun and I'd love to talk about it. So
Now, was it a lot of campy fun or
yeah, there's a little campy fun. It doesn't go as wild as Barbarian does. So it's but there's lots of fun moments in it. There's definitely some comedy in it. And everybody's doing great in it. Sophie Thatcher, Jack Quaid, Harvey Guillen, they're all so perfect in this. And then we get Lucas Gage, who just was in Smile 2 before this, in a small part, and he's in a much bigger role in this. So it's yeah, no, it's really really good. So, um, but I don't want to say too much. There's a couple of what you see in the trailer
Mhm.
does not spoil you for anything that's coming in this movie because there's definitely a few moments in this that you're just like there's some tense moments and there's some funny stuff that's just you're not ready for it. You can suspect things for sure because there were moments where I was like, I think this is where this is going, and I was
Mhm.
right, but that's fine. It wasn't super predictable, even if you can predict it, it's still getting to there is like satisfying. So I liked it in that way.
It
So
looks like a lot of fun,
oh,
so
it
I
is. It
I
yeah, it's
cannot
so
wait
much
to
fun.
hear your episode about this and the rogue AI
Yes,
movies.
yes. So, but yeah, Companion. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, definitely go check that out if you can. And I'm sure it'll be on VOD soon enough if you can't get to a theater before then. So, all right. So, what do you have for today?
So, out of the 2 items that I have, just aware that Dan Stevens is gonna reprise his character in the next, Godzilla and Kong,
Oh,
franchise. So, apparently, he was kind of the breakout one of the breakout stars of
yeah.
that movie, so I'm super excited about that. He's totally embracing this kind of horror, sci-fi,
Yes.
element, and I'm here for all of this. I
Oh,
really
yeah.
I
Oh, definitely.
appreciated that character so much. He just seemed like he was having a lot of fun doing that role, so or
Right.
every role really.
Yeah, this is last year was a great run for him between the Godzilla X Kong and Abigail and
Mhm.
Cuckoo. He was having a good he was having a good strong year in like genre work. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. I know that I hadn't heard that, so that's awesome. So it's always glad I'm always glad when they can continue on a character from like a previous installment into the next installment, even if they don't show up for successive installments after that. Like what is it? So Millie Bobby Brown's character was in the second one and then was in the third one. And
Mhm.
that's when she meets Brian Tyree Henry's character, who was in that one and then carried over into the newest one.
Right.
So it's kind of like, okay, they keep like, okay, we're just going to send one character from the next one on.
Well, it makes me super excited, and like I said, he's great in every role you see him in.
Oh,
He's such a
he was so
chameleon
good in that
actor,
one.
and he just
Yeah.
always seems like he's having a good time. You almost don't feel like he's acting half of the time
Yeah.
when you watch him.
Right. No, and that was the interesting thing too, was to see how his career was going. He could have just stayed on Downton Abbey and just raked in some money and not challenged himself, but he was like, you know what? I'm gonna get out of this thing. I want to do something that's going to like be fun and interesting. And he's done some weird stuff.
Yeah.
There's definitely like his filmography is kind of all over the place. There's some interesting stuff in there, things that I'm not super interested in for myself. But but whenever
The
he
Guest.
does the
Oh
get
my
oh
god, The
no,
Guest alone.
the guest is awesome. The guy I would love to see a guest too if they could ever get it. Like, and that's the thing. Like Adam Wingard, stop making Godzilla movies. Go back and make the guest too, please. Now you've got the cachet to like, maybe hopefully parlay that into a guest too. Come on, man.
I would
So
co-sign that in a heartbeat. That
right?
movie is just so much fun. Oh my
Ah,
god.
so much fun. Yeah, no, yeah, no. No, that's awesome. I had not heard that. All right. Well, I do have a couple of trailers. Also, I'll start with one of them. There's a new trailer for the movie Sinners with
Oh,
Michael
that
B.
was my
Jordan.
second thing.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. We almost always have at least one. So
Yeah.
go ahead and talk about it because I love this trailer. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
this trailer finally tells you something. The first trailer told you almost nothing and
Mhm.
did barely hinted at a supernatural slash horror aspect. Even though if you ever read any of the information previous to this, you knew this was going to be a vampire movie. But no, they definitely this trailer definitely makes it explicit that there's vampires going on. And I didn't remember Wunmi Mosaku being in the first trailer. I may have just missed her, but we definitely got to look at her,
Mhm.
Haley Steinfeld, and Delroy Lindo also as um, co-stars in this movie. So I'm excited for that. It just looks a lot of fun, and we got Michael B. Jordan playing twins. twin brothers in this, and it's just it looks very interesting. I'm very excited to see this kind of like early what like it's looking like the 20s during
Mhm.
Prohibition era look at vampires in like the deep South. Um, so it should be very interesting. It looks really cool, and I mean it's Ryan Coogler, um, who did Creed and the Black Panther movies. So it
Yeah, I'm
should,
interested to see him
yeah,
doing this kind of genre of film.
yeah.
It almost makes me think, I don't know if you've ever read the comic series American Vampire.
I
Have you?
did, yeah. I read
Yeah,
the first storyline of that.
that's
Yeah,
kind of what this made me feel or made me
yeah,
think of when I saw that first trailer. And I love the second trailer, it just fleshes it out a lot more and it looks
yes,
way more exciting. And it's definitely going to
yes,
be action packed. This is going to be a
yeah.
lot of fun.
Yeah, no. So it looks great. Like I said, good cast, great setup for
Hmm.
what we're seeing on this, and it looks like a lot of fun. Looks like a good setting and everything. So yeah, no, very cool. Well, I'm sorry to step on your thing,
No, no,
but
no, that's fine. I figured we'd have at least that one.
there's
What
also
else you
another
got?
there's a new trailer for a movie you brought before called Ash. That's
Oh,
coming,
yes.
yeah, coming out from Shudder. Um, it's actually coming to theaters first. It looks like, and it's a weird, um, like I, it the trailer's just as confusing, if not more so, than the last time. Something's going on. A woman wakes up. Things are going chaotic. She's lost her memory. Aaron Paul's in it. And it gets nuts. There's like lots of neon colors and which appeals to me, but
Mhm.
it's yeah, it looks chaotic. I need more information about what's going on. Um and
Well, the
maybe
fact
just
that it's
a
directed by Flying Lotus, it's definitely gonna be,
yeah.
confusing, and it's gonna look great, and it's gonna have a great soundtrack, I can tell you that much. Um, but did you ever get a chance to watch his, body horror well, you don't like body horror, but he directed one that was called Kuso. Did you get to see that
I
one?
haven't seen it, no. No.
He's very much into surreal and, just kind of
Yeah. This
trippy
I can
trippy
see
type.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this trailer is very has that surreal kind of trippy kind of like like just I don't know how to explain it. It's just kind of cosmic horror is what it
Mhm.
feels like. This is what this is going for. So, but yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. I know I say that I've been saying that a lot with everything, but
No, it's
um
definitely gonna be interesting.
yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. It's going to be trippy for sure. Those colors and the cosmic horror vibes for sure. So, yeah, check out that trailer. It's called Ash. So, but that's all I have this week. Not a ton. Um, we just yeah, a small week. That wasn't as crazy cool with stuff. But just a couple of things. I don't think I have any movies that I'm going to watch this week that are new. Um, I was telling Donna off air that I'm starting a watch of for the month of February for Black History Month. I personally am just watching for my own enjoyment. I'm watching black exploitation films. So I've made up a list of a bunch of them throughout the short time period that they existed,
Mhm.
and and plus some others that came later that are kind of like informed by black exploitation. And so I'm going to check those out and have a lot of fun with that. Hopefully, we'll see how good or not good they are.
Yes, some are better than others, that much I will
Yes,
tell
yeah,
you.
yeah. So, but yeah, so I put together a list based on recommendations online and stuff. So I feel like I have a decent list, full of kind of ups and downs and just kind of a lot of fun. So, but that's what I got going on for this month. But I'm definitely going to be talking about some good movies here on my Black History Month episodes here. Um, Don and I are going to continue our discussion here in a moment, talking about the movie Nope. But before we move on, why don't you let people know what's going on your podcast this week?
Oh, okay. So, for the month of February, clearly Donna will be having a Black History Month of her own. And
Yeah.
but mine's gonna be focusing more on, I guess, Black horror survivors, just movies that I wanna talk about in general. So it may not be an entirely Black cast, but it definitely will have a
Right.
Black character that's a focal point. And so recently, Shudder dropped a movie called Dark Match. I've mentioned it on
Oh,
this
yeah.
podcast before. It was a lot of fun, and so that's the movie that I'm gonna be talking about. It's just kind of a retro wrestling throwback, but also cult vibes, and I'll get into some of what's going on there, but it's got an extremely, wonderful Black character that I am head over heels over, and I feel like I'm in love with her now. So I'll tell you more about that on my episode when you guys come over and listen.
All right. Yeah, go check out her podcast. It's called Donna the Dead, THA, Donna the Dead. So go check it out and let her know what you think of her podcast. All right. Well, we will continue this on in just a moment, right after the break. Welcome back. On today's episode, we're kicking off Black History Month with the first part in a new series featuring Black led films made by Black filmmakers about Black experiences. On this episode, we are talking about Jordan Peele's Nope, and joining me for this is my friend Donna from the Donna the Dead podcast. Welcome back to the show, Donna.
Hey, Robert. You know I had to come back for this one, right?
Oh, I know. We already covered his first two movies together, so of course I had to have you back for Nope.
It's like a
So
Jordan Peele junkie. I have to talk about
I
his
know,
movies.
and we already talked about the Candyman 2021 together, which he didn't direct, but he co-wrote and produced. So,
Right.
but I
So
do
yeah,
consider that. I still consider that a Jordan Peele film.
it's in the Jordan
Although,
Peeleverse.
again, I will not denigrate Nia DaCosta because she directed the shit
Hell
out of that
no.
fucking movie.
Hell
He
yes. Oh
deserves
my
every
gosh.
accolade for directing that movie.
Yeah,
So I'm
nothing
not
pisses
going
me
to.
off more than when people are like,
Right when
"Oh
they
yeah,
call it Jordan Peele's Candyman. No, it was not his movie. He co-wrote and produced it. He helped get it made, but she directed that shit, and I will not take umbrage when people do that. I will take full umbrage. And that's your word of today, kids. Umbrage.
word of the day." What is this, Pee Wee? What are we
Yeah,
doing
right.
here?
I mean, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, go ahead.
Anyway, but yes, so we are talking Jordan Peele's Nope, which I know when we did our top 10 of the year, that was your number one movie.
It
Um,
was.
it was not mine. I really thoroughly enjoyed it that year. It was high up on mine. I think it was number five. That was just also the year I think Evil Dead Rise came out,
Oh yeah.
and one of the Scream movies came out. So it was just like, those are my two favorite franchises. I can't not like put them high. So yeah, he stood no chance. But yes, but it is a fantastic movie. Very like his movies are so different for each one from the other. They're so different.
Hmm.
Um, but they all but they all are very much, like I said in the intro, black led, like, filled with tons of great black actors. And it's written and directed by him. And while I say it's like about the black experience, this one's not necessarily specifically about an experience that only black people have or anything like that, but this is very much it's funneled through their view.
Hmm.
Especially because, in the beginning we get this part about how these characters, their great 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 grandfather was um, the jockey in the first sequential images on film to create
Right.
a movie. It's like a 2 second, like what we would consider a GIF at this point. Um, but he was the jockey in that, and so he's like the first black actor. So
Right. And everybody
the first,
remembers the director, but not
yeah,
the
exactly.
person who rode the horse.
Yeah. So it's very much about their place in Hollywood in a lot of ways. It's it's not hitting you over the head with it, but it's definitely speaking to that that experience of being someone black in film, about having that being an integral part of Hollywood and everything, but being, as always, being pushed to the side.
Hmm.
So, and having your contributions either diminished or completely forgotten. So, so I did enjoy that part of it, um, in terms of, the overall aspect of it.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, Daniel Kaluuya and Kiki Palmer, man, they're a great brother and sister in this.
They
Um,
are amazing.
yeah.
I cherish this brother and sister kind of sibling dynamic they have. It just seems
Yes.
so natural with the two of them, and it made me think of my mother and her family. My mother has a huge family, a lot of siblings, and I'm an
Right.
only child, so I didn't get to experience that, but I got to see it a lot. And the way that they acted with each other, it made me think a lot of my aunts and uncles and the way they interact with each
Right.
other. It just came across very natural with the both of them.
Very authentic. Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, I just, this was the first time I've watched it since I saw it in the theater. I hadn't seen it since then. It's one of those things where it's just between podcasts stuff and just trying to watch new things. I
Mhm.
haven't gone back and rewatched things as much unless it's for the podcast typically these days. So I don't get much of a chance to go back and revisit even newer things. So but I know you've rewatched this several times since then, right?
Yeah, this is kind of oddly enough, we folded this into our 4th of July marathon.
I mean, it makes sense.
It's Jaws, it's Tremors, and this
Yeah,
film, Nope. So we watched this one on a pretty regular basis. I think out of all of the Jordan Peele films, this might be my favorite.
interesting.
There's just
Yeah.
something about it. It's like cowboys and cosmic horror. I just love westerns, and this is a little bit of everything that I've grown up watching and that I
Right.
absolutely love a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I think my favorite's still Us. I love the performances in that.
Mhm.
And it's so bizarre that it's just, I don't know, that one still resonates with me,
I
and
mean, it's a wild story. I don't blame you.
yeah.
That's the I mean, I
Yeah.
love them all, but I
Yeah.
this
Oh
one,
yeah.
for some
No,
reason,
for sure.
just there were certain things in this one that I was just like, "Okay, this is the one, this is the one,"
Yeah.
until he makes the next one, and then I'll go, "This is the one, this is the
Right.
one."
Yeah. We'll
But I
see.
think
I
you're
It's supposed to be coming soon. I don't know if it's
yeah,
this year or next year. I know it's coming soonish. Hopefully this year. That'd be cool.
but I think you're right, though. This one speaks volumes, not so much well, it does, towards the Black experience and how, this family they have a connection to cinematic history,
Right.
but they're seen as the help still.
Yes. Yeah.
It's kind of weird that they aren't revered a little bit more, specifically because they do such a great job. I mean, they're known as great horse wranglers, as the Haywood family, and
Yeah.
yet they can't save their farm. It's
Right.
kind of sad. You would think all the people they work with would chime in and help these people and or have
Yeah.
fundraisers, what celebrities do, but nobody's doing any of this. I mean,
Yeah.
they're about to go under.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
it's
yeah,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead. No, no, no,
No, no,
no.
no.
I was just gonna. I wanted you to continue talking about your thoughts on it. But I just wanted to break in with just that, because the part of it is that they are struggling, but in the beginning, their father gets killed by a random fluke.
Mhm,
Something drops stuff out of the sky, and a nickel hits him in the head and ends up killing him, lodging himself like behind his eye, and kills him. And so that sets off a whole the adventure and everything like that, but also sets off their. I mean, I'm sure they weren't doing great beforehand, but it
mhm,
impacts their downturn even more, because now he's gone, and um, Kiki Palmer's character, was it Emerald?
mhm,
She's off doing her own thing. She's trying to like make her own way in life, while OJ, her brother, is trying to keep things afloat. at the ranch, and um and he's not the best socially. And so it's hard. It's been harder for him. He's having to sell horses and stuff. So to the people next door, which is like this old west town amusement park. But we'll get
Star
in more
Lasso
into that.
experience.
Yes. But yeah, no, I did want to hear more about your thoughts overall on the movie, and how what you thought about how it connects to the Black experience and everything like that. So
I mean, it's just like you said, OJ is very soft spoken. He's not the one that has the showmanship.
right.
His father clearly had the best of both worlds. He was,
Right.
strong, but he knew how to be a showman. Um,
The legendary Keith David. I mean,
oh
just
my gosh,
as
how could we forget
so
that?
so underused for this movie though too. Like I get it. Like if you were gonna have somebody, you're gonna get in somebody great, but Keith David, man, like
Yeah, I wish there were more scenes with him.
I
I
wish there were too.
absolutely love him.
Yeah.
Jordan had been kicking himself when he got him. He was like, "Oh my gosh, I got the guy from the thing." Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
that's just
No,
my
no, no, no.
personal
He's the thing from They Live. He's the person from They Live. Come on.
We're not going to squabble over our favorite John
I know.
Carpenter
We
movie.
already made that episode. Go
I
back and listen to it,
know.
by the way.
But it's really funny. Them just trying to make that stamp and to be these
Yeah.
background people. At one point, he's trying to explain these rules to them, and then his sister Emerald shows up and explains the rules, and then they come over to OJ and they go, "Yeah, tell the horse we're ready," as if he speaks horse.
You're
Like
right.
that's not how
Yeah.
this works.
Yeah.
We
He's
we
not
don't do this.
he's
But
not
he's
the horse
speaking to
whisperer.
him
Come on.
right. He's speaking to him like he's not even a person. Like, oh,
No,
you
of
know how
course.
this
Yeah.
animal works, even
Yeah.
to the point where his father has been deceased now for 6 months, and they go, "What happened to the older one? Like,
Yeah.
you didn't even take the time to know his name." But then when
Yeah.
they do mention that his name is OJ, the white actress on set is kind of shaken.
Yeah.
OJ, yeah, Otis Jr. It's like, oh, she's very upset about it.
Yeah.
Um, and it once again just goes to show white people are uncomfortable with certain people that are black in spaces, especially when she
Certain white
mentioned
people, yeah,
OJ.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. This was such a great film for
Yeah.
me. It follows that whole thing of exploitation, and what people do to kind of get that. What did they call it? The Oprah shot, to get
Yeah,
that
the
Oprah
Oprah shot.
moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're doing it to save a farm, whereas other people do it to make money. I mean, they do need the money, but it's
Yeah.
to save their legacy and
Well,
their.
I think to a certain extent, it's a double thing for them. Like one, it's to save their ranch, but also the other aspect is definitely, at least with Emerald, it's for the fame.
Emerald.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for the
Emerald
fame for
definitely.
her, 100%. The fame and the money. That's what she cares most
Yeah,
about. Like she cares about the ranch a bit,
to a
but
point.
and then on the other hand, OJ doesn't care about any of the fame or money or anything like that. He just wants to save the ranch.
He just
And
wants to
so,
save the ranch, doesn't want to sell
yeah,
any more horses, doesn't,
yeah.
the this is his life. This is what he's grown
This is
up
what he's
doing.
known. Yeah, this is everything he's known and everything he wants to continue doing. Um, I do think it's very funny throughout this movie. We get a lot of instances where people, especially the main two, are saying nope. It's very
That's my
prevalent
favorite
throughout the
part of
movie.
this movie.
Yeah. No, it's great too because it very much speaks to the difference between white
White
people and black
audiences and
people.
black audiences,
Because you
definitely.
see white people all the time in movies just barreling through in to, oh, what's this thing, what's going on,
We
they
go
go
towards
towards the
the
killer.
danger. We will
Yeah.
not do that.
And then and you always see it too, and it's funny too because it wasn't until I moved to the Atlanta area that I'd really experienced black culture in a large way. I'd always
Mhm,
heard about how black people talked at movies. I'd never experienced it. um pr- Probably because mostly where I went was predominantly either white or mixed enough
mhm.
that the ratio of black people was a lot less. And when I moved here and I was in a theater once, it was the funniest thing because we were behind these ladies, these black ladies, and I don't even remember what movie it was, but they had the funniest fucking comments about shit that was just like, yeah, it was just like literally exactly the most. It was the funniest, like stereotypical cliche thing you would ever see, but it totally it like normally I would have been like so much like, okay, please be quiet,
But it
but I
made
was
your
just like,
movie
you know what?
taste
They
so much
enhanced the
better.
movie for me so much. It was fucking great. Um, but yeah, no, it's exactly that experience of like, black people already been through some shit. They're not going to put themselves through more.
No, we're not going
So
that
they
way.
see
No.
danger, they're gonna be like, they're literally gonna nope the fuck out. So, and that's what was great. There were so many moments of that too. There's that moment where the creature is above him in the truck, and he
And
opens
he
up the
opens the
door just
door.
that crack. He looks up, sees it, he's like, nope, 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 nope. Then they closes the door. It's just like, I'm just staying right here. So it was just that was one of the best moments. The other one of my other favorite moments is whenever he's in um the one arena thing, and he sees the aliens, like the creatures in there, and he's just like nope, and starts turning around to get out of there because he's like, nah, fuck this, I'm out. Whatever this is, I don't want to be any part of this. um I love that. I love that, it 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 just speaks to a culture that understands, no, I don't want to play with that.
You know
So
what I appreciate too? They did something similar in ironically, Barbarian was the trailer that we saw when we
yes.
went to see this movie, and she did the exact same thing when she saw the makeshift dungeon room with the
Yeah.
camera. She's like, "Nope,
Yeah.
that's a no situation for us.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. Sorry.
I don't
Just
blame you. Like,
I'll
I don't
let somebody
understand
else
why.
figure it out."
Yeah, I don't like. I get it for the movie. That's the whole point of the movie, is that you're supposed to like, oh, you need to go towards the danger, because if you're going away from it, the movie's over. Come
Right.
on.
I mean, because that's how the horror movie unfolds. We need
Yeah.
stupid people to go and
Right.
investigate.
Exactly.
But
So,
primarily, it's not going to be an African American that's going to do
right.
that investigating.
Exactly. So I love that, that was an aspect of it, and it became a large part of the whole thing. And that's because that was the thing. Everybody was like, well, what does nope mean? What is it like? Because we all suspected like that there was something like from the trailers, because the trailers were
Oh,
pretty
right.
vague.
The trailers
um
were really vague.
but they were awesome, and so they were just like, they were great. They told you just enough to get you like weirded out and excited. And then when you were just like, nope, what does nope mean? And then people were like, well, nope could be not of planet Earth, like it
No,
could
it's
be an
just
alien
nope.
thing. And it was just like, and I mean, it does serve kind of both. But it was just like, but no, it really means nope. For the most part, that's literally what it means. It's just like, these people, they're gonna do what they can do to um uh, capitalize on this in a
Hmm.
way, but they're also not going to put themselves in danger if they can avoid it. So, so yeah, no, it's just that continued through like and it's not just them. There were other people that said nope throughout the thing, and it just would crack me up every time I heard it. This time, it's one of those things where, because I had already seen it, I was able to catch like little things like that a lot more. Because the first time I watch a movie, I'm just like, I'm involved in the spectacle. I'm
Right.
not looking for Easter eggs or little things and stuff like that. I'm
Or
just like,
clues
oh
or anything.
man,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just enjoying it. And so, or hopefully enjoying it. But it's upon a second or third watch or whatever like that, that's when I start catching things, and so it's like, okay, I'm starting to catch the repetitions, and it just, yeah, no, this movie's a lot of fun. It's also got a great extended cast too. Um, we've got the character of Angel, who I can't think of his name at the moment.
Brandon Perea.
Brandon Pereira, yeah. And then we also got Michael Wincott.
Oh,
Um,
I love him in this movie.
like, I didn't recognize him from anything before. I know he's been in a lot of stuff. I guess most prominently in The Crow, the
Hmm.
original Crow movie. And it's been decades since I've seen the original Crow. I still need to rewatch it. But yeah, no, he was great in this. Like, his character was so like, it's very much that typical, like, that filmmaker, that guy who's like, very I wouldn't say pretentious, but very much a filmmaker. He's very much in love with making and creating film. Like it's like he's at home at one point. He's like editing some like animal footage. I don't know if
Hmm.
it's for like a documentary or if it's just like him just brushing up on his editing skills or
He's
whatever
just
he's
doing it
doing.
for himself.
But
Yeah.
yeah, he's just doing it for the pleasure of film. Um, and so he's just, and then when you see him like later on, he's like basically kind of like dressed in a like it seems like a dress and a shawl and everything like that. He's very eccentric
Hmm.
filmmaker, and he's like even tells her whenever she calls him to ask him about if he would like to be involved in getting the perfect shot that she tells him that it's a documentary, and he's like, well, I do one for them so I could do one for me.
Hmm.
And so he's very much like you know he's willing to do it because he's like, okay, they've intrigued me, like I was gonna hang up on them, but now this is interesting. So
I think it's
uh
interesting too that the film that he's editing or the wildlife stuff he's watching, it's all about predators and how
mhm,
they get their prey.
yeah,
That was kind of a nice little touch. And clearly, with this man getting the impossible shot, you know, him being as eccentric as he was, there was something else was going on underneath the surface. Like I don't think he had a long way to go. He was taking a lot of medication, so I think he might
yeah,
have been on his
yeah,
way
there was
out.
subtle things about that. Yeah, I noticed that too, like in this one. I'm sure I noticed it the first time too, but yeah, he's taking a pill at one point and it's just like, well, what is that? Is he not doing well? Like, so that could have been part of it as well. It's like he just wanted something for his legacy, the impossible shot. He wanted to
The impossible
get that
shot.
impossible shot for his legacy.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's this movie is just it's very interesting. Looking into some of the stuff, like the design for the alien, once it unfolds itself, was meant to evoke the design of uh, what the description for a biblical angel was.
Which is terrifying. If
Yeah,
you've ever read the
yeah,
Bible's
yeah,
description, it's horrifying.
yeah. And that's they tried to do something in that vein, not exactly, exact to the
Not with the
specifications.
million eyeballs and
Yeah,
feathers.
yeah, exactly. But very, very close, very like very just like extremely out there. And I think they did a great job with that because once you saw that, like I remember watching it in the theater, it was just like, what the fuck? So yeah, the design work on it was great, especially like even when it's in the saucer form and everything.
Hmm.
It looks because once you finally get to see it up close and everything like that, you get to see that it's not a ship, it's something organic.
I think that's what's so brilliant about it too, is
Yeah,
like we're under the assumption, especially if you go based on like the really kind of vague hints of little people in the trailer, and then you
yeah,
get to
yeah,
see that it's not a ship so much as it's an animal. It's an alien, but not in the sense that we're thinking.
yeah,
Um, it's clever. It,
yeah,
it's it's a very clever thing. When you see alien abductions and you see people getting sucked up into the sky, you're like, oh, okay, they just taking them into the ship so they can do. Nope, they're getting eaten. It's
yeah,
pretty gross. It's a
yeah.
pretty gross scene. Um, I think one thing we skipped over was the whole Gordy incident.
Yeah, no, I was gonna get back to that because like this is part of what this was a part of the whole thing that speaks to the probably the larger message that's going through this narrative is the um having respect for
Hmm.
animals and creatures other than yourself. It should be respect for all creatures, and that's something that's not being done in this movie. They're the siblings are not getting respect from people. Those people are also not giving respect to animals, and this like speaks to like a disrespect of animals in the film industry as
Hmm.
a whole. um and so that's it's even at that point where later on, OJ realizes that if he doesn't look at the creature, it's not going to swallow him up.
Right.
And so he realizes that and makes sure to keep his head down when it's above him. Um, and he's proved right.
Which is
Um,
really great because it shows that he has that respect
right.
for the fact that this is something that's not tameable at this point. This is an animal that we shouldn't assume that we can take control of.
Right.
Just like being a horse trainer, this is something that he's learned.
Well, and he
Um,
mentions a couple of times not to look in the horse's eyes as well,
right.
because you're that spooks them. That you're trying to meet them on their level, and they're just like, nah, you're not on our level.
I think
So
what's a really great kind of scene about that too is that when he does make that statement, they're sitting in that kind of restaurant and he
mhm,
says, yeah, it doesn't like it when you look them in the eyes. And there's a scene of a group of dudes outside and one of the guys looks at it's like two opposing teams and you see these two guys kind of get into a skirmish
yeah,
and it's like they literally were just looking at each other when he makes that statement and
yeah, yeah,
that's obviously a sign of aggression or a threat. You know,
yeah,
it was kind of neat how he just folded that into him saying that statement.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, let's get back into the whole Gordy of it, because there's this it starts off with Gordy. There's this television show, like, um I think it was supposed to be like in the early 90s is when it came out, and it was a popular like sitcom show. But when we come to it, it's during, like, there's something terrible's happened and we don't know
Hmm.
quite yet. We're just hearing grunts and moans and stuff like that, that something bad has happened. And it's we find out later on exactly what happened, through both a little bit of narration from uh, Stephen Yoon's character,
Hmm.
who was the kid on that show, and also through flashback scenes about what exactly happened. And it's because Gordy, the chimpanzee that was on the show, um, went insane at that moment. Like, not in a, like, he didn't actually like go crazy, but he was
He was
provoked in some
startled.
way. He's
Yeah.
startled. I think by the pop of the balloon.
Hmm.
And that startled him enough that he attacked the cast, and hurt them really badly. I think killed the two actors who were the parents, and maimed the
The
girl that played
younger
the
actress.
sister.
Right.
Yeah, and so it was like horrible. Um,
And then
and
Stephen Yoon's character actually witnessed a lot of it, I
yeah,
believe,
saw it
under
all
the
because he had
table.
hid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it also speaks to that aspect too of looking them in the eyes and stuff like that. The others all looked him in the eye and tried to get him calmed down. Stephen Yoon's character was underneath the table, and had that ruffle of tablecloth between
Hmm.
them, and I
Obscuring the
think
eyes.
that just that little bit of material helped him at that point. It's very subtle. It's not spoken of. It's not mentioned at all. But I think that just that little bit
Hmm.
of a covering helped him in that moment, because Gordy comes over and actually wants to fist bump him, because they talk about the fist bump earlier, and just before they um, take Gordy out. But it's a through line through the whole movie about respect for animals, and what can happen if you don't respect them. Um,
Hmm.
if you
I think
don't,
that goes along with that theme that he's talking about with, the Bible quote at the beginning,
yes,
with being a spectacle, because when you see things, especially now with social media, when you see things, people are more apt to pull out their phone
yeah,
than help.
yes,
Like, we have wildfires going on right now, and I can guarantee you there are people probably filming it when they should
hmm
be helping people get the fuck away.
yeah,
Um, the exploitation part of it is huge throughout this whole film.
yes,
Jupe, he lived, Stephen Yoon's character, Jupe, lived through this horrific experience, clearly has survivor's guilt,
yes,
probably did not get the therapy that he needed.
no,
Um, and because he survived that, he just assumed he was, I don't know, like a chosen one. It seemed like he thought that
yeah,
that this alien entity chose him and his location, that nothing bad was going to happen because he survived one
Right.
traumatic experience, and that was his hubris was his downfall. That was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like you said, he got lucky.
Yeah.
He just happened to not be able to look this chimpanzee in the eye,
Yeah.
and the thing that kills me about it is that in this scene we get this gut wrenching, scene of this kid who couldn't be more than 10 years old, hearing and seeing all of the stuff that goes on. And then he focuses on the shoe. And
Yes.
there's this one shoe that's just
Standing up
perfectly
on its
upright.
heel for some reason.
Right.
Yeah. It's bizarre.
And he focuses on that. And then we cut to him being an adult and he's got all of the memorabilia, including the shoe.
Yeah. And he's profiting off of this
And
too. He like
profiting off of this
he
traumatic
people
thing that
pay
happened,
him
horrific.
to see these artifacts
Mhm.
from that, and he's okay with it. Like, this is a person who barely survived this trauma and is now profiting off of it because, like you said, he's probably never had the treatment and the therapy that he's needed for this. Because then he describes like a Saturday Night Live sketch
Mhm.
about the incident that he thinks is like great and that it's perfect. It tells the true story of it all and everything like that. And it's just like, and he's okay with them also making fun of the incident and everything. And it's such a weird, bizarre
It's
moment.
uncomfortable. It's really
Yeah,
it is,
yeah,
it's
it's
very
really
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable. Yeah,
And what the thing about it is, I feel, is because he was exploited as a kid, because
yeah,
as a child actor, he's probably had to go on many talk shows and talk about this, and he's been exploited over and over. But think about the concept of the Gordy's family show in general. They have chimpanzee and they have an Asian kid.
yeah,
Like that's it's almost like how you were saying the Black experience. It's like different strokes or Webster.
yes, yeah,
That was the gimmick. You take a poor Black kid and you stick him in with some rich white people, and this is a family, and we all laugh at it, and it's cute, but it's really not. It's like,
right,
huh? It's like you bought a pet, and then
yeah,
we actually get a sitcom where they actually have an alien. We have Alf. I mean, it's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
the same formula. We just
yeah,
make it weirder each
yeah,
time it comes out. This kid has been exploited his whole life, and now he's an adult, and he's found something that he thinks is also special and that will be so unique to him and that won't hurt him. So what does he do? He turns around and exploits it for himself. It's unbelievable.
yeah,
It it's so disturbing to the point that he even invites the girl that was on set, who's now disfigured.
yeah,
And this goes along with the real life story of the woman who had the chimpanzee, who I think ended up ripping one of her friend's face off. Do you remember that?
mm. Oh, I hadn't heard of that.
It was like something that happened either in the late 90s or early 90s, but she had a pet chimpanzee and, put him in clothes and diapers and,
Right,
kind of like a Michael Jackson situation with Bubbles. And they
yeah,
all think that you forget that these are animals. These
yeah.
are,
Well, it's like Siegfried and Roy.
yeah,
They had a
exactly.
successful career with these tigers and everything until one day one of the tigers actually attacked.
Yeah, they even made that comment in the movie. I think
Yeah,
Antlers Hoist does. He says,
yeah,
"As Siegfried and Roy, you have to come into an agreement with an animal, but you can't
yeah,
because it's an animal. It's not like they're writing a
exactly.
contract and
The
signing it and
agreement only
saying
lasts so long until the animal decides it's over. So,
exactly."
because the animal that like, look, I love animals, but like, and they are great and strong creatures on their own, and they've got feelings and everything else. But like at a certain point, they're going to um go back on their nature because that's what they are. That's what they know, and they're only going to put up with human behavior for so long.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's one
so
thing he didn't respect. There's a level of
exactly.
respect. So OJ knows to respect the horses. He knows to
Right.
respect Jean Jacket because he doesn't
Yeah.
really know it, but he knows that you can break an animal to a
Yes.
point. However, Jupe, there was no respect
No.
whatsoever.
No.
He didn't even put in his head or process the unpredictable nature of what this creature would do. He just
Exactly.
assumed, oh, well, I got the pass the first time, I'll probably get a pass again. Up
Right.
until this
Yeah.
point, it had been eating the horses, so he was like, oh, yeah, as long as I feed it, it'll be fine. That's not how this works. It's
Yeah,
not how
exactly.
any of this works.
Yeah, no, it just, yeah, it's interesting to see, like, it's interesting to watch this movie and to like understand it from that point of view. I know it gets compared to Jaws a lot. There's, and that was one of his influences when making the movie. A lot of people were just like, well, it's just Alien Jaws. And to a degree, I understand that, but at the same time, I'm like, um, I it's its own thing for sure,
It is
100%.
definitely its own thing.
Um, but I love that, they're just trying to, they're still just trying to get that one shot. They do finally get the one shot. It's not
Hmm.
through the means that they thought they were going to get it through, but they do get the one shot. I mean, you don't get any resolution other than the fact that, you know, um, that they do dispatch Jean Jacket, the creature. Um, excuse me. But yeah, it's just a really great, fun movie. It definitely involves a lot of spectacle. That was the thing
Hmm.
I read was that he was just trying to make a movie that was filled with spectacle that you would just be like in awe of it. And I mean, for the most part, I would say we were.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really enjoyed the movie the first time I watched it. I very much enjoyed going back to it. I mean, I had my own theories about stuff based on the trailers and stuff because we did like the trailers were great because they told you almost nothing.
Hmm.
They were just quick scenes and just enough information to, um, get you to go see the movie without telling you too much. So, it was a lot of fun. And like I said, Daniel Kaluuya and uh, Kiki Palmer. They're so good in this movie. They're great
Yeah,
brother and sister. They've got these moments
it's so
where
much fun to
they're
watch them
arguing, but
together.
they're also great moments where they're just together and they get along super well and everything. And it's just how a sibling relationship can be.
And
So,
you could tell that he had so much love for her and she had so much love for him, to
right.
the point that he names this creature Jean Jacket after a horse that she was supposed to have and
Yeah,
train and wasn't able to do. And, you know, he was going to do whatever he could to look out for her. As
exactly.
flaky as she was, as zany as she was,
Right.
he loved her. And I love the fact that they made her a queer character. I
Yes.
love the
Yeah.
fact that she got to do the first live action Akira slide. I think I almost just I my husband had to keep me in the seat when I saw that because I was just like, hell yeah, black lady did the first Akira slide. I was nuts. It went nuts. And
Yeah.
but this is a really fun movie. I always look forward to whatever he's gonna do next.
Oh yeah.
And he has a great way of putting a theme together and having several themes and things going on in one movie, and he makes us laugh and he has us in awe. And this was one. Once again, cowboys and cosmic horror. I love any kind of what I am about westerns and western
Hmm.
horror. You can just forget it. So
Right.
and he has all these great intentional things in it. Like he's got a buck and the preacher poster in there. There's
Yeah.
it's clear black household, but there are little things that they make me smile. Plus, I'm just going to throw this out here. Towards that last part of the movie, Emerald is wearing green and OJ is wearing orange. I
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
why, but they are, and I love that.
It's perfect, it's in keeping with their characters, yeah. Just let's color code them. Based on their names.
Plus, Angel
Um,
was great. I mean, we needed the comic relief, and that guy
yeah,
just killed it. He
yeah,
was so great in
he's
this
so
movie.
funny. Um, yeah, and another appearance by somebody from Euphoria in a horror movie. Barbie Ferrera was in this
Oh
a
yeah.
very very small role, but we just talked about that recently about how we'd
Euphoria
have
all
Euphoria
over the
characters
place.
that were popping up, or like Euphoria actors popping up in horror movies.
Yep.
Um, because I'm gonna say Euphoria in a lot of ways kind of a horror show.
Oh my
Um,
God. My God. If this show had been out when I was a teen, my mom would have never let me leave the house.
right, right,
She just would have I would have just been, no, you're staying in.
yeah,
Because it is. oh my God, the things that they do on that show.
You
Sorry,
know,
y'all, but that show
I'm
was
gonna
great.
yeah. Let's go off on a Euphoria tangent real quick because it's something I did want to like. I wanted to talk about was just like, look, this is the teen experience. They're not sugarcoating how it is for some teenagers. That is exactly how the teen experience is. I've like even when we were teenagers, it was kind of like this.
Yeah.
I know for a fact it was because I talked to people who it was happening to. I didn't do any of that stuff. I was a nerdy like socially awkward kid that didn't like get involved in any of that crap. So, but I definitely heard from others who were people who were drinking and smoking, doing drugs, having sex,
Yeah, I'm
all
not
that
saying
stuff.
I didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
I was an only child with a free house, so
Yeah, yeah,
I'll let you put
exactly.
that together.
But yeah, so it's that's I think it's funny though too when people nowadays are like, "Oh my God, this is what kids are getting up to these days."
That's
I'm
what
like,
kids did. They always
they've
did.
been doing it for decades.
It just looks
They were
more
doing it when
stylish
you were
now.
a kid. Yeah, yeah. They're just somebody just making it
They don't
interesting
have
like
the wood panel
yeah, exactly.
bed.
The burnt orange furniture and
Yeah,
the wood paneling.
everything
Yeah.
looks nicer now and
Yeah,
softer.
exactly. But yeah, anyway, I'll get off that topic now. But yeah, it's just like it's something that always bothered me is like people act like these shows are presenting teenagers as something like as some new thing, and I'm like,
No, it's
dude,
always
this has
been
been
this
going
way.
on forever. So, I mean, go back and watch something like Fast Times at Ridgemont High or something like that. It's just like it was happening in the '80s too. You just weren't
Go back
paying
and watch
attention.
Little Darlings. Have you ever heard of that
Yeah,
movie?
yeah,
Oh
I've
my
heard of it. I haven't seen it.
God. You
Yeah.
think girls aren't wild? You should definitely check
Oh,
that movie out.
yeah. Anyway, but yeah.
I'll be
But
back
back
off
to
of
Nope.
that tangent.
Yeah, back up to Nope. Yeah,
But
I really enjoyed this movie. It's very good. A lot more of the movies that I'm be talking about are going to be like a little bit more steeped in the black experience, like
hmm
in terms of more focused on it. Whereas this one, yes, you could have put in white people, and it would have been mostly the same story. There definitely would have been some differences. The experiences that they have as Black people um, informs a lot of what happens in the movie.
hmm
Definitely don't want to dismiss that at all. It would be a very different movie. It would be probably closer to Jaws in that way.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, because of the experiences of these characters, it changed their dynamics. It changed the way they reacted to things. So that's why I wanted to include it because it was just like this seems like a good movie that speaks to that experience, as well as following up on our previous episodes that we've done on Jordan Peele's films. So, um, which is why I wanted to have you back on. But yeah, uh, anything else you want to say about this movie?
No, I think we talked about pretty much all of it,
Yeah,
just I can be honest with everybody listening. I was terrified of clouds after this movie. And I know that that was his intention because I was just like, "Oh my God." And I love taking pictures of clouds, y'all, but I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I
yeah,
can do this anymore."
uh, yeah,
But no, this was I'm glad I got to do it with you because this is like I
yes,
said, probably my favorite Peel movie at this point,
yeah,
until, something else comes out and knocks it off. But I don't know, the Western aspect of it, it just it's one I love. So
yeah. No,
just
it
think
was
it's a
really
great
good.
film. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely great, lots of fun. Um, and definitely worth the watch. Definitely, I'm excited to see what he comes out with next because he just keeps making great movies. So hope he keeps up that trend for sure. All right. Well, on my next episode, I'm going to be talking to Richard Newby about um, Mr. Crockett. So the new Hulu movie. Um, So we'll make sure you come back for that episode. And thank you again, Donna, for coming on. Why don't you let people know where they can find you online?
Oh, okay. So I am on Instagram and Blue Sky, under Donna underscore the THA underscore dead. Um, and I have my own podcast, as you probably already know if you've been listening to Robert for a while. So wherever you listen to podcasts, that's where I am.
All right. Definitely go give her a follow. She does a great show, and she's posts a lot of fun stuff on Instagram. So definitely go follow her there. Um, but until next time, stay creepy. Thanks for listening. Creepy and Geeky is produced and hosted by Robert Clark. If you like what you've heard, please consider giving the show 5 stars and a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And share the podcast on social media to help spread the word. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app or at creepyandgeeky.com. You can follow the podcast by going to creepyandgeeky.com and clicking on any of the social links. If you'd like to follow me, you can find my links at geekthulu.com. You can support the podcast by ordering teas and more on TeePublic or by donating to the coffee page. All of the links are in the show notes. Finally, don't forget, stay creepy.